Man, talk about a debut. Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are taking a look at TXT's Crown. This is a Patreon request, so shout out to Shelby for the request. Very excited for this because I haven't seen TXT in quite a while. I think I saw, was it something like Chase That Feeling or something along those lines quite a few months ago, and then seeing this here, this is their debut, which I think is going to be super fun, just seeing such a huge difference in their movement quality, so I can't wait. Let's go ahead and get started. Wow. So, they do not look like how they look now. This looks like a completely different group. This is crazy. I'm not talking about movement quality, I'm talking about their actual faces. Because I can recognize them kind of to some degree, but oh my gosh. They're very young here. Cute. Ooh, fun. I love it. Bum, 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 bum. Da, da, da. Never seen the choreo for it, but I've heard this song. Ooh. Whoa, the breakaway was really dope. Ah. Oh, cool. I wonder if this room still exists. Do you know what I mean? Because this is like early hype, but also it's still big hit at this point in time, right? Oh. Okay, I have a feeling I've seen that before in a K-pop analysis compilation video. I think this showed up in that, did it? Because that part felt familiar. Ooh. God, I love it. Yeah. Oh. Yes. Yes. Man, talk about a debut. It's out of the freaking gate. Da-da-da-da-da-da, suri. Very nice. Nice. I love it. Da 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 da. We did it. Okay, so they bookended their courses, meaning they did similar choreo in the first and third course, something different in the second. Ooh! Oh, this is so fun. Very youthful. Suri. Suri. Nice. Wow. Well, even with the finish with the little head at the end. Golly, that's cute, isn't it? Okay, we got the music video pulled up right here. Oh, look at that big hit, little beginning. Wow. So they also Oreo cookied it too, didn't they? Wow. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Whoa. Phew, phew. God. These are really fun. Very catchy song. I mean, I'm still singing it to this day, and it's been a hot minute since I've heard it. I love it. The sensation of going pit-a-pat. Isn't that just fun? Oh, I'm delighted. That was wonderful. Okay. Man, you know what's so interesting about this, though, is that because we all know, I mean, I'm assuming if you're watching this, welcome, but you have seen them in a 2024 context, right? At least just seeing the stark difference of how they look. They look like men now, right? It's kind of the best way to word it. They look like boys here, right? And I would say 17's extended the same degree of courtesy for sure, because I noticed it with them in their music videos is when I really caught on to that. And what I find so fascinating is it makes me think about these Gen 5 groups that are coming out this year, or that they've been, out for maybe a year or so at this point, and just thinking about what they're gonna look like 5 years from now. It's just so cool, right? Like they're gonna have their own degree of artistry and influence, and they're just gonna look different. It's the same but different, right? And their movement quality is also gonna be reflective of that. This is very clean. I think it's dope. It's awesome. Now, Do they do this degree of density in their more recent work? I mean, to my knowledge, I've only seen one other thing from them, so I can't tell you. I mean, they're probably capable of it, I'm sure, but I bet the structure of their choreos has matured, not matured in the sense of it wasn't good before. I mean, this is phenomenal, but it's just shifted into a different artistic direction is what my gut would naturally want to assume, because as you grow up and as you get older, you're just thinking about what's the word? I don't know. Yeah, just as you get older, you tend to glean or lean into different ways of expressing yourself through art. And I would say dance and choreography is one of those facets, just like your sound production, your lyricism, your tone, the whole shebang. And so I kind of extend that with idols in general. This is low-key tempting me, and y'all can probably thank Shelby for this. It's tempting me to want to look at their most recent stuff, because I do know they had something come out recently, just so I could see the stark difference, just for me right now. But we're going to talk about this one for now, and then we'll see how we feel after that. From the top, I love the Oreo cookie vibe of this. So when I say that, I mean, you know how an Oreo cookie has a cookie, cream, and then a cookie, right? So the bookends of it are the same. Just like the courses, I call them bookend courses, where the first and the last course had the same content affiliated, even though the structure of the formation was slightly different, and the middle was different. And that was like an Oreo cookie, essentially. And then how they start and how they finish are very similar. Differences, this one kind of feels like, you know, a little bit more downcast. They start very low, very intriguing, makes you look at them as a group because everybody looks the exact same. The spacing looks great and everyone is looking down. So there's no one that is clocking our attention outside of other contexts like costuming. But I wouldn't even really equate it to that. There's no one that really like sticks out, which is cool. From the top, we have it super dope. I like the Vans, that they're all in Vans. Look at the mirroring, so nice. You have one of them. I'm going to look naturally at my center because he is the only one that is deviated in any way, shape, or form from any type of mirroring. He is in my center. I like how they have it. They're grabbing. One of them looks like he's crossed over and one looks like he's touching his ankle. Now, are they known for unison or synchronicity? I'm not sure. So if you guys could let me know that, Shelby, if you could help us sister out, I would appreciate it, because this does give that expectation of I can expect them claiming a role like that of being known for being clean, because this is very, very clean. I mean, there's some subtleties, of course, with some thread moments, like his hands not fully lengthened or his hands just small and his is bigger, and that's fine. I got small hands. I have room in my small hand club, and that's fine. But I don't know any of that, and I like the joy. It just feels very gregarious, and I always love seeing that in concepts because we live in a world of neuroticism, right? And just a lot of negative emotion that, of course, I feel is appropriate to express, but I also appreciate when we get to talk about it has a bit of dark lyrics, not dark lyrics, but it does have a bit of like deeper, meaningful lyrics, but it does have a very gregarious tone and sound about it. So it feels, it's an earworm, you know, it catches your attention and it sticks around, which I think is super dope. But from here, I think this is really cool. He takes it through, and it actually is very complimentary to what the other two are doing. It kind of feels like he had his moment, bum, 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 bum. He takes it around and he goes and he threads it through the leg to the same angle that my two guys in the back. So my prediction machine in my hand, my Baldwin Area 47 for the semantics of stuff. I'm going to assume that my two guys in the back are about to add on from here. Because whenever you have the context of a move and they all match, that's just a very fitting choice to go about with. Now, does that make it not impressive? No. I mean, I caught it at a really good time to even make that guess. I really enjoyed it. So they take the arms up. I just liked how they all connected. So they go up, boom, folded over, and then right here, we're about to have them all join in. But we still have another move to do. Yeah, ding, ding, and we twist it from both hands. Really nice focal point to get everybody here on the same page. I really love that add-on. Very creative. Then we switch it through, boom, click, click, light, nice. There's beauty in being very specific on what is being accented, because sometimes by moving something, other parts of your body that are connected to that thing moving can have a residual, like, rebounded effect. And so there's a lot of discipline in the fact that it's very clear, a lot of rotations, accents, and hits in their isos, in their wrists, very clear to see, which shows the discipline of keeping other parts of their body in check and not influenced until appropriate. So that's a really great start here. Cool. And they go, and I love this. Oh, really nice. And then you have them all kind of, once again, mirrored to the diagonals, and then you still have your center as your center. Really cool. Now, could I tell you any of their names? I couldn't. I do recognize 3 out of the 5 of them, though, from their man equivalences of being adults now. I think it's my front 3 I think I recognize, but I could be totally wrong. Could I give them your name? I can't tell you their names, and that's okay. Maybe if we marathon them one day, I'll have the privilege of doing so and learning, but I digress. We're here hanging out for now. Sorry, but I like this choice, the tension, the build up on that, and then the quickness right here on the sound. Right there. Definitely feels like we're building to somewhere fun. Very interesting intro. A lot going on in the first 13 seconds, right? We talked, and I was able to deviate and talk through so many different things just in that, which makes this a very, very fun routine to really dive into. You have your first feature. Well, technically you already had a feature, but it wasn't like a vocal one. I would say my first vocal feature with movement to boot. You have everybody facing mirror to the outside. Having an odd number makes it a lot easier to maintain symmetry and balance, which I think is great. Good on Big Head's part. Hitting through, boom, boom, whoo. I love that high note. They do a nice little knee slide. Some of them end up, kind of hopping it, and some slide it. I would say both would work. I would always, try to make the decision on which one, because it just makes it a little easier to be able to have some sense of cleanliness, because jumping out of something and sliding out of something do give off a subtly different look. And I can tell logistically, I like both options. Like I had said, logistically, it makes sense why some of them opted to hop out of it, because the transition's so fast. But I like the choice. Really nice. Yeah. Right here, we've hopped, boom, really nice height going in by lifting of the legs as well as lifting the arms to complement. So it feels like a full body hit, really nice and full. And right here, super clean in our V. We love a good V. The pull-ins are nice, and I love the commitment right here from the angle through the torso, not just in the arms, but also in the torso, in which we lean it. And the pulls, it does give that obvious impression that he is controlling them as he pulls them in. Are there wordplay options? Most likely, because there's no lyrics in the dance practice, it is hard to catch the wordplay because I'm not fluent in Korean. I got about a preschool equivalence of vocab, so forgive me for that. But we can appreciate all the other facets that are going to be complementary to the track, like tone. You would go off of runs. You can also talk about the percussion, tonal colors, right? Instrumentation, timbre, you name it, stuff like that. We can appreciate it. I love that little knock. That was really cool, the lean, and then he goes and he re-leans it over to the other side and he hits it to create a fun accent, and then they all hinge it. I think some of their setups were subtly a little off on that, but I really love how our timing gets our hinge around, and I like that my feature maintains his feature position. Just because you're in center doesn't mean I'm going to be watching you the whole time. So there's a lot of things that you have to modify or progress as a feature, especially if you have clean choreo and everyone looks the same, to allow me to continue to find you. Because I don't know them. I don't know whose voice is whose, so I can't just naturally follow who's singing. So I really like the choreography taking responsibility to help assist out. I think it's great. So he allows those arms up, and I love the quickness of getting out of it into our transition. It's a rotational transition, and they're hopping or they're switching their legs on the tempo. I'm always a fan of that, and it does feel like we're kind of bouncing on the percussion, which makes it really fun and very playful, which validates a lot of things I'd already said about just the underlying tone of the track itself. The choreography reflects it. I think it's super cool. Boom, da 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 da. Really nice little clap sound in the music. They clap in person. It's nice to hear it. Feels organic. Very nice. Genuine. And then I like that da 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 da. So it's syncopated out the gate. I've talked about this in more recent videos, and I'll talk about it here. Whenever you have a choreographer do something syncopated like that, meaning that we're going on the offbeat, right? Da da da. We're matching specifically how he's saying it. That means he has to maintain that syllable execution or that diction or how he's saying it in lives, because what ends up happening is if he doesn't, that musicality gets lost or gets muddled or gets misplaced. So I really like the fact that we are taking that risk out the gate in a debut. We're here for it. I love it. I love that little surge you get through, hit, boom. I love this little taking that leg up, and we're bringing it through, and they stop it. Now, are they doing like a chest bop or something along those lines? I don't think so. They take it, we totally forgot they presented the arms and then they allow the arm. It looks like they're doing a swing and then they bring it through and they catch. It sounds like they're catching the sound. And because my center is facing front and everybody else is either side or diagonal to our feature, they're framing him, even though they're all doing the same thing. It's easy to still find him, which is nice. And they like that, yeah, and the trot. So far, his would be the hardest to justify vocally in lives because most of his section falls under how he is saying it. Now, doing the movement while he's singing, I'm talking more so about, a great example is this, with Seonghwa in verse 1 of ATEEZ's work is very difficult to do because he is bouncing and he's hitting a groove that is the opposite in how he's swinging on his notes or how he's singing and syncopating. It is a polyrhythm vocally to while he's digging in a groove. That's very difficult. But it's not hitting, like, if that kind of makes sense. In this case here, the difficulty, it actually works in his favor, my feature, that he has words and he has movement that matches the words. The difficulty would be the physicality of it, not quite the mental strain of it. So those are two different types of difficulties that you can face whenever you're dancing on your part. And that's what I'm kind of catering to here and alluding to here. I just think it's just so fun to talk about, right? I'm really here for this. And I love the fact that this is like baby TXT that we're looking at here. And I'm kind of glad I didn't see them at all, so I can really appreciate this childlike wonder of looking at this group in this way. It's so fun. I love that knock, boom, doom, doom, really nice. You hear that bass, doom, 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 and they take it. And once again, the other members are complementing that sound very effectively through their body, and he's able to use his hand. More minor movement from him, modification, but it still clocks him as our feature there. Yeah, boom, doom, 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 doom. Really nice on the basses, even though he has a different rhythmic pattern. So that would be a more mental difficult section for him versus physical compared to earlier. Really nice. I love that switch. Do-do-do-do. I've seen this quite a few times, even during this era of life and choreography in general, not just K-pop, where you have the switch up on that. And I love just the rotation of the arms. It's really fun. I think if it works and it's very fitting in your track, then use it. It's really cool. It showcases a different dynamic, and it allows there to be some depth to your choice as well. Super cool. And I like he pulls, and they all pull through their transition to a new spot, which is really nice. There's your hops, really nice, very stable. So I love their stable choices. They go around, and then you have your another feature through. He steps back, so now he's entered in more of a center point in the formation, even though the formation is not centered. I like that. Great staging. I love that trot, little hops that bring it over. He's up, very easy to spot him still. Love that. And then right here, very quick to get into a new feature. They go up, really nice, very quick. Super fun. Then they go ding, ding. I love the switch on that. Notice our feature, he does the opposite in levels, so it's still easy to find him both times. So they drop down. I love the intention of the fullness of the arm. Notice how clean it is, even to the degree of the elbow is also very nice. Some people tend to droop the elbow when they're not looking at it or they're not facing front, where it's easy to feel it. So really good job on them to really commit to that position. I can tell that this was rehearsed extensively. It's very thorough. It's considerate to the choreographer. It's considerate to their movement and to the track, because you see the preparedness of everybody on the same page for most things, which is why I always appreciate clean choreo, because it takes time to make it clean. A lot of groups in the 2024 sense, they're releasing a lot of dance practice behind the scenes that are covering a lot of the cleaning process. It is not glamorous, but I find a lot of fun in it, which is why I do it in my life, that's my job, and so I really love being able to see and talk about those things, because I find joy in it. But man, it can be it's so tedious and annoying whenever you're a recipient of having to clean something. So I always admire clean routines for that aspect of it, because I empathize with the amount of discipline and hard work it takes to get a routine clean like this, with the amount of difficulty in the switches of textures, formations, and staging and levels. It's really nice. And I love right there, boom, notice we had an accent and then we're slowly pulling up, very fun. And then he's taking a more pedestrian, conversational little trot forward, which I think is really cute. Fun, showcases some personality. I love this, we hit back. He's not doing anything in the sense of the commitment of the torso as much as the rest of the members are, but I think part of it comes from the fact that their head is completely downcast versus looking up towards us. makes total sense because our feature is looking at us, so it naturally makes us want to look at him. And so I like how they expand those arms out. They do a kick, really fun, and they build it up. So they use the kick and then they transfer the energy up to the head. Really nice. And then you have the percussion come back in again. They drop down, boom, once again, little speed change, similar to the speed change you did with the arm as they slowly come up, but notice it's a little different. It's a little bit more, I would say, snaking in nature for your texture, which I find very enjoyable. And I think the intention of the head is always something commendable. I appreciate that. It just validates everything I've said before about the thorough and preparedness that we're seeing in the choreo. You have a new feature. He comes in, he's in the back, he walks forward. I like how they all come in. Notice that we're building or we're not deviating, but we're kind of modifying or doing something to contribute to this non-stop motion that's happening as we're swinging it low and bringing it up nice and tall. There's your accent here, which is really cool. I do feel like one of my guys was a smidgen too early because his prep was early. So even though the timing was right, the range was off. And those are two different things that are talked about whenever you look at like high level adjudicated choreography competitions. Those are things that are noticed or marked, right? Because you could tell in this case, yes, he's about to be the feature in this moment because of where I have it paused, but his range was a smidgen off in these positions and where his angle was. Just like you can see a smidgen of the angles just being a little different. Nothing crazy though. But I love, once again, each member as they're featured, there's a really cool moment where there's a sense of collaboration in a like controlling way where you have a member, he's, using his hands to make the levels change, or they're using their hand to create an energy, or they're using a trace or something along those lines. So it's interactive the whole time, which makes you want to interact with it as a viewer or just want to be a part of it, right? I think it's super cool. Love it. So he pulls through really nice. And there's right there, this is the first time I had like a basic transition is really what it feels like. Basic meaning that it's a standard of what a lot of times you would see in choreography. I call that a basket run. That's a basket walk is what I would call that. And normally when I see those too many times in a routine or they're doing it for too long, I always make a note of it, especially in the context of K-pop and especially in choreography competitions, because that's just a wasted opportunity. But in this case, this is actually, it's very fitting because we haven't seen something that has a nice breathability about it so far. So it's allowing us the time to breathe. Even though it's only very small, it's still a breath, which is what we really like. So you have your feature right here. Now, am I going to take a guess? I think my guy right here, is he the leader? Because he was in the center in the beginning. That would be my guess. And then am I going to take a step? Am I going to say somebody's name? Hold on. Is there a guy named Subin that's in this? Maybe. I don't know. I've seen that name often. He looks like somebody whose name would be Subin. Please tell me, am I right? Am I imagining this correctly? That I have seen him outside of the context of TXT and I just remembered his name? That would have been really cool. And then so basically these three look very familiar. These two guys, I feel like I would recognize at some point modern day, but I can't tell you their names, but I think I have his name. I don't know. I digress. You guys let me know. Please don't hate me. Remember, I'm looking at the movement quality and I have not looked at TXT longer than just one routine. So cut me some slack. Okay. But I like the subtlety here. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and then an explosion of energy. They're locking up that torso, using their core to really make a lot of these moments happen, which I really love. He has this really nice, cute moment right here, hitting it through. I love the throws coming out of it. I like this choice. So you have your feature. They have a lot of very interesting things thrown into this, which I really like. This right here does give just the connection, and they're kind of interweaving and threading with bodies. I think is always super fun. I love it. It's very enjoyable. It's very playful, right? It does remind me of isn't there like this little ribbon thing with three people and they can move to and fro and it creates a fun little ribbon design, like a ribbon dance. But I don't think it's that at all. It does remind me more of like the playful ring around the rosy, like a lot of that kind of stuff. I really like it. It's fun. And they do all of that. That's just very impressive. I love that. And then he goes and he's naturally threaded in. Cool. And there's the accent boom from everybody. It does look like we use our legs for that. Use our legs to create that fun moment. Then right here, I love the fact that everyone is still connected in what they're doing. does give the appearance that they're all rotating to their right, because you have two that are near the back that are moving and they look like they're giving the appearance of going stage left because they are, and then the other two are looking like they're going stage right because they are, but it's because it's rotated, but everyone's doing the same direction technically. And I like my feature committing to the group that is most in the front, and so it creates a really fun intentional contrast in it. It's just nice. And then right there, da 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 da, boom, nice explosion to reset at the top. It does give the appearance of a crown, doesn't it? Where they're all connected and it has this kind of vibe, which I think is really cool. And then he's in the center of it. So, and I just think that could be a potential reason as to why this formation exists, is because of the name of the track, but I could be over projecting. That's fine. I love the subtlety there. And then we go, ooh, ooh, and we dig it through. So it's a reset and we do the same move progression that we did earlier, but the groove is subtly different. Hence why it comes across a little different. Explosion to drop, really nice. Then right here, boom, I really like the subtlety of the arm as they walk. Intentional even to how much of a step they take. I really appreciate the intention of spacing. All I see here is the amount of time they practice this. It's definitely, this is amazing. This is really, really well done. Good chance if you ask them to do this in today's time, they would probably be able to do it pretty decently just offhand because of the amount of discipline they had to probably drill this. It is a lot. I do know with debuts, they tend to be able to work on a debut a little bit longer than a comeback or something along those lines. I've noticed that with so many groups. And most of the time, debuts, regardless of a group's known for cleanliness, they typically have a clean debut. Because of, like I said, the amount of prep time that they have, I think is naturally a little bit longer than whenever they do their comeback. So I am curious about modern day TXT now. Now seeing them in this lens, what is it going to look like? You know, ooh, man. I love it here. Boom, boom. Nice little accent with the wrist. I think super fun. And there's that boom. I really like that accent once again. And we go and we take it through. Really nice little run. So I like the switches where you have your two come in, set up, and my other two set up. And they set up in a very interesting formation as well, because it's not one that's like a typical standard, like geometric kind of formation. It's more of a cipher, like half circle. So it's more curved. And curved formations are a little bit trickier to get right without having other reference points for your spacing. So that was pretty fun to do. And it's very exciting and very jam-packed for a group of 5. It really is. There's a lot to do. I love that da-da-ba-da, and there's that percussion, so they go a little bit lower, a little boom, boom, and here's our first chorus. Da-da-da-da-da, hop. Yeah, and then we take it, and I like the little throw as we go through. It does feel like that's a traveling crisscross is what that feels like, which I really like. Super cool. And little body roll or little jack coming out of that. And this part's really cool, going from, so they're connected right here with the fingers. They isolate with the wrist. Doesn't shock me at all how clean that is, because they were showcasing symptoms of, we understand how to isolate wrists out the wazoo in the whole beginning first verse. So this is really cool. I'm glad they have it in here. It does feel like a really fun, like a cute little heart, but you move it over to the side and it feels like, you know, it reminds me of really big ears. I love it. But they take it, and I like the knees that complement it too. There's a lot of movement that we're noticing that has legs that complement or justify the fullness of the upper body, which I really like. It's complete. It feels like we're engaging, and it feels more physically demanding because of the usage of the lower body, but not as a focal point. The upper body is really taking that role of being the feature focal point in the choreo, which I really like. It's cool. And then they go, na na na, they fold it down and they do a nice little wiggle with their knees, which I think is super fun. Then this is fun. Notice that we're doing more of a lot of times we would call this a bevel switch. So it's really just, they quickly shift their weight from the mid part of their foot over to the ball of the foot. But typically whenever you're able to do a quick bevel shift like that, it's your weight shifts aggressively over to the other side. So having this, knowing that the weight shift is happening, and then you're having these isos or having a tilt in an isolated rock take place at the same time, it's very nice and deceptively creative. It's kind of cool because you're technically, your body wants to rock, but it's kind of counterintuitive where it's rocking. Yeah, da-da-da. So they go corner and it goes side side. So I kind of take that back. It is still very creative, very cute, very playful, because it kind of feels like a animated penguin almost. But that movement actually, I think, sits a little bit more natural than you would think, and it's because their commitment to the weight shift allows for this hinge to naturally take place, because you're going to want to go that way because you have the weight shifting in that direction to begin with. So that's really cool. Love that. They come up, boom, boom. I love the quickness of the feet on this. They hit it through, boom, and then we ball change. No, they don't. I thought they did. My predictability was wrong. They come up, and then right here, they're still, do they end up switching their feet? Hold on. Yeah, they do. So they have their feet up, boom, and then they switch to the other foot, and then they drop it low. I love it with a little heart, 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 heart. Really cool. Now that's pretty tricky to do in the sense of taking the legs, boom, boom, boom. We're hopping on one. So there's always going to be the risk of not being balanced. On top of you're doing these isolated rotations in your choices as well, that it's really impressive, and it's turned into a mirrored formation with a feature in the center. That's really cool. A fun reveal and a fun transition. And then we go around, mola, cool. So it looks like he's pulling and kind of controlling all of them collectively. I love it. Really cool. So it goes all the way down. Ooh, I love it. So my feature was very aggressive in the sides, and how they broke away was they created tension and more bleed out in their movement. So it kind of looks like they're moving, and then they slow down and break away from the hinge that they all set up to do. Very well done. Yep, and there's your add-on right there. They take it up, they throw it down, they take the arms out, da 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 da. They go, and then they do a nice little connection with the fingers, really cute. And they go da 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 da. Once again, we're kind of writing. It's a different feature this time, but it's very similar to my Guess Who, one person with one name that I think is right. My guy in the white. He, like I had mentioned it in his section, where you have a da 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 da. There's movement that complements the lyricism of it. It does make life easier, but it's physically gonna require more of your consistency and the stabilization of your vocals. But it's easier on the brain. Hit than if you're riding on the opposite. So I like that. And then they're about to do another thread happening with the arm. Yep, da da. Love that. Cute. And the nice little hop. So much fullness. I mean, this gives such rookie energy in like the best way. And I'm not talking about inexperience. When I say rookie energy, it's like that puppy dog energy. Man, and then once you're like an adult, which I think they very much are at this point, they're not going to be pulling this type of rookie energy. Like, they're not going to be pulling this type of energy. 17 doesn't either. Like, you can just tell in the movement quality. There's just certain things, like certain heights, certain jumps, those types of things that you're just like, I really wish we didn't do that, because now I have to keep doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just some routines I'm like, I can see this never making its way to a concert just from the physical demand of it. Now, this one's their debut is what I'm going off of, so I'm going to assume that this is going to be one that has shown up in concert at some point because of the nostalgic factor and OG-ness of it. It's the equivalence of Shiny playing Replay at their concert. It would be a bit strange not to, right? So, but I digress. Right here, I like the fold down. I love this. Very intentional with their choices. Of course, you can see here my top, like this part and this part, freaking divine. I like his commitment to with the lean forward ever so slightly, but whenever you mirror, you can tell that his is a smidgen off because it's not curved at the top. It kind of looks like he's kind of taking that elbow. It's a little bit lower than it needs to be to create that curvature, but it could also be I caught it at the wrong time. No, I did. So, yeah, but I really love this. This is actually, is this their symbol? Because it looks very similar to what I'm looking at in their channel profile picture. That's like this big. I have a feeling that's what one of their logos. That's cool. And then boom, 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 boom. So I love that choice where he goes, expands it up. Commitment to the full range of the arm looks really nice. Then he goes to the side, the little suri. Now, it did give the impression of like a clock that's being adjusted. It also looked like a bow and arrow. And they showed in the video through the usage of like these fun animated sketches that it looked like they made him do a bow and arrow there. So I think that was really fun. Super cool. And then it goes, we take it, different person, right there as we go, and we rotate it from the wrist to expand it out. But everyone's kind of looking front except for your top and your bottom. I think it's cool. They go boom, boom, and then we go and we take it back in. So I like the usage of the back to make this feel nice and strong. Because sometimes when you're doing a lot of these types of angled positions, they can come across a smidgen weak, especially if you're going fast. But whenever you use your back, for styles like whacking, tutting, vogue, by using your back in general, you're going to create more power and energy in your extremities, period. So I love the fact that I can see that here, the usage of the back. They're not just relying upon the arms, because you're going to see more fatigue at the end by them only using their extremities to help carry power in their movement. So they're very consistent all the way across. So that's why I know in my head they're using their core and they're using their back. Shout out to that. We love it. Love that action there. Boom. Yeah. That right there. You can get away with using the tricep on this, but a lot of these choices like this, you got to use your lats in order to make those look just as punctuated as these types of movements. So I think that's super cool. Love that. The act and yeah, really nice. So they all rotate down, which I really love. And then it's a really cool way to introduce a new feature who was low, who created a fun visual for a different feature, swing up the opposite way. That's just fun levels, fun level choices here. Whoa. And then they go and walk around. Yes to this. You see, this is so disciplined. We love it with the straight line. And even as he walked and rotated, right? I think he ended up rotating. And the oof, like that to me is probably one of the most impressive things when he rotates and you can see that my guy right behind him caught the spacing to a T, even with height differences. That's so awesome. We got to celebrate those little things, because that's what makes those little details what really helps enhance really big moments in your choreo. So I like to give shout outs to the small stuff like that. That is awesome. Yep, da-da-da-da, and I love that everybody expands out, fans out to create a really fun moment with your feature. And part of me really likes the fact they're all in different colored shirts or different fits, because it kind of feels like they all have their own signature color. It feels like that, right? I like that little boom boom. I love the little reverb rebound almost there. Then they all rotate to the other side so it feels balanced, like we saw with our first feature of this rotation vibe before they moved over. New feature right here, he comes up. The walk right there, I like the little hesitation. We keep walking. Man, we go knock knock, really cool. I'm realizing how long this analysis is turning into, because we're not even halfway done and we're coming up at about 45 minutes. Oh man. Okay. I'm here for it though. I just love looking at choreo and just admiring it with y'all. So hang on tight if you're a fan of TXT. We still got a long way to go, but I'm enjoying it and I hope you are too. I like the speed changes on that. That's really cool. And notice the expansion. So we have two guys that are complimenting each other over on stage right over here. And for me, I'm clocking, he's my feature. And then you have two that are creating opposition in their levels over here on stage left. Really nice. I love that little hit. Very nice choice. And then we're about to formulate into a different formation. What is it? Not quite sure. We have our two set up. And then it does feel very playful in our arm choices. We do end up seeing something like this in the beginning of the first course, right? But we've progressed it up to two hands versus one. I love that da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, this could feel like, I think they're bending the fingers. Feels like we're taking a really big picture almost, a picture of a huge moment, something like that. Really nice to see our feature in that, because he's the only one that's deviated from what the standard movement looked like. Then those two kind of go back in, they drop in. So the people who set this up are my guys right here. So they set it. These guys have to hopefully use some peripherals or use some context to be able to train to get into this spot. So it's nice and clean. It's really nice. I love that. And then you have your feature right here. And he's down, and then they go, really nice surprise, great showcasing of micro levels. This is the epitome of like a textbook, here's all the levels you can do, but we're missing, of course, like the standing and the jump side. But you're on the ground, you got your crouching, you got your lunge, but then we're progressing it up so much in the spacing. I mean, do you see how freaking clean my lines just were to just talk through all the different, like that's an impressive thing on them. And then shout out to my mouse for knowing how to work. That's another thing. But the spacing, even to the heads, is what's really impressive here. And then the lean out too, so it really feels like a beautiful line. And I feel like this does feel familiar. I may have to like double back to see if I have seen this excerpt before, because I think it was to justify hardest choreographies in K-pop. I think was like the video, and that's such a subjective title to begin with. You will probably never hear me make a list like that. I'll probably tell you my personal preferences, but I'm not going to tell you like a standard objective hardest choreo. There's too much criteria that's involved to even dictate something like that. And choreographies are made with different intentions, so it's not fair to project and promote that in general. That's just my little tidbit, just to let you guys know that. But this is difficult. I'm going to tell you that. That's difficult for a debut. There's a lot. there's a lot going on here, but in a really cool way because they're taking ownership of it. And that's what makes it impressive and that there's so much to talk about. But I like that the connection there, they take the arms, they go do-do-do-doon. So they've done something similar to this where it was like the yeah, I think is what they did earlier, right? So that's why that felt complimentary, is because we already did a movement that justified that texture choice. But it just showed up in a different way, different vantage point that we can appreciate it from. So he's nice and subtle. He's drawing back. Everyone is kind of committed away. I love that. Different arms here. Now he said, I'm entered the chat, and I love the wave coming out of that. The bleed on that's really cool. And with my guy right here in the front, what makes it fascinating is that he's technically showcasing a starting point for the wave, but he's kind of triggering the energy airborne, and they're all catching the wave and transferring it across. It's a very creative way to kind of make it a group project on executing an exit wave. I am here for it. Super cool. Love it. It's a group project that everybody contributes to. Can any of us relate to that? Because I can't. Not often. Oh, man. Especially in school. And I like that my guy, he walked forward and then he goes and he's not going to be back to back. And then we have a pull away take place. Looking downcast, of course, you have that speed change, which is something we've kind of seen a lot of times here. That was really cool. So they all speed changed down, and then as they reset up, it allowed there to feel like a contributing energy shift where everybody's pushing their energy up, even though everyone's making different choices. I think that was really cool because my guys right here, normally we see people do this for fun where they struggle on the ground to get up. So we all can appreciate the amount of trust and competency and reliability that they have with each other, and to put equal weight and energy up to get up like that as quickly as they were able to in their setup. So that's super impressive, seeing that there. And they stopped it, and then they do a speed change for a fun vocal moment, and then they go, and they move on. I love the kick out of that, really cool. So they go kick and drop, really nice. They come out. Yeah, boom, ooh, love that. So they present the arms out and they drop it a little bit more aggressive, and then you have your feature in the center. So you see just a subtle deviation in the arms. Like they're not all quite on the same page on it, but it's so subtle, it doesn't matter. And at this point, you're well over halfway done with the routine, and we've only could really maybe count on our hand how many like subtle differences they're making, but the key word is subtle. These are not focal points. The focal point is the texture or the dynamic that they're doing, not the position in which they're holding. And that's a really big kicker on a lot of this, which is why I feel like there's going to be natural grace built in, because they've already showcased the discipline, that they know what they're doing and how they're holding it down in a dance context. So it allows me more freedom to extend a benefit of the doubt is kind of the best way to word it. Now, do I think that was an intention, that they're not, doing the exact same thing? I don't know. I wasn't in the room when they choreographed it nor cleaned it, but I could tell you that the top priority was not the hands in this specific moment. And that's fine, because it's not supposed to be, because the hands create a priority in the next moment, which you clearly saw was a smidgen cleaner in the terms of how they chose to bring it up and down. So that's really nice. I love that double and double, really nice, as they bring it back with the cross on the legs, and they go back here with the fold. So that's really nice. I did just pop my neck. I don't know if you heard that, but I did. On that, they go and they take it, expand it to the inside, and they pull it to face towards the front. Really nice little head. Then you have every other with a, let me see, who's my next feature? Okay, he's my feature then, I guess. I think that's technically the first time I don't know who my feature is. He's the one that naturally looks front, so I think I was starting to clock him right over here, because he's looking, even though he's doing the same thing as my guy right here and right here. But I like the every other. It's a really fun way to do a window change and a diagonal. It's cool. It's cool. Nice. And then we accent. There's so many of these like diaphragm engaged choices in their hits and their accents. I love it, but I'm not used to seeing that. Well, no, I mean, at this point I kind of am. But I know at this point in time, you're not as used to seeing so much bopping, which is similar to popping, but it's internal chest hits is what I learned from Bop and Andre. That's how he worded it. And it's just cool to see and admire. I love this that was such a boy band angsty moment. We'd love to see it. Yes, show us what it's all about. The pull-ins were cool. And they go dun dun, really nice. Similar to what we saw earlier, but a different build-up, which I really like. And the swing here, and this right here, I love it. Once again, a little playful with the pull of the hip. We love to see that. Dee, 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 dee. Let me hop it out. Yeah, boom. I love it. Yes, I love it. I love it. And then right here. No, 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 no. Oh, I really like that because I just recently put something similar to that in a choreo with Jess with Blind. It was like on an accordion sound. I just love it with an opposing torso. It's really cool, and I love how it was placed here. Very fun. Did I get it from this? I don't think so, but once again, there are certain sections of this I did end up seeing without realizing I saw it. So there could be some form of inspiration on like, oh, I really like the heel toe on something. It's just how I was trained too, as I always admire footwork for stuff, and it's always a challenge for me to try to integrate it in my own work. But I love that. I love it. Yeah, and this is one of the first times that you're seeing like the footwork being the focal point of a move. Yeah, and they're looking down. I love what's going on with our feature, but he's using his hands, which is what we're normally used to seeing with them, to complement what's going on over here with the feet. Yeah, and they go down, and he goes, it ignites the explosion. They go up, da 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 da. That's just super fun how they pull that out. They probably had to troubleshoot that a ton. And then he's singing there, so they all latch in. It's nice. It's mirrored, not really mirrored, but it's balanced. So everyone's doing kind of the same thing. I love that. That does feel like we're picking it up, and we're doing not a tone wop twist, but it feels like we kind of cut it in half. I like the variant of that. Really cool. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Da 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 da. That was a really, really fun choice. 1, 2, and we build it up with more. Honestly, the most impressive part about it is those that are standing not being too influenced by the setup and the start of that. That's super cool. And then I love the immediate every other level change. Go into the arms, ding, ding, ding. And I've noticed with the hands, very intentional with their hands, fist versus blade versus hand extension. We're seeing this like jazzy jazz. Oh, some of my kids are really going to like the fact that I just said that. Like a very jazzier, like fun, gregarious kind of vibe with some of their choices. And they've showcased this hand in a lot of these like pulses that they were doing earlier. So that's why it feels very fitting here. And these choices, bro, back in, doing does feel very marionette, like fun, gimmicky puppet control. Not puppeting the technique, but puppeting in just like the control aspect of it. The comical animated sense of it. I like the rotating, and there's a lot of these subtle tutting positions, these angles that they're doing. They're doing a pretty decent job. You can tell with some of them. They don't quite have a ton of wrist flexibility, so you can see this little curve that's happening. So that would always be something that over time you would want to kind of work to getting it nice and straight. But for the speed, it's hard to really fight for this when it's not implicit in your body to fight for a flat hand. So it's cool. It's cool. Do-doom, really love that choice as well. Love that. Boom, boom. I love the drop on that. Across the arms. Oh, so it's very similar in nature. Notice that whole half of the course was completely different than course 1, but this tail end here is very similar to course 2. Hit, hit, and it goes tap, tap, tap. And I think they end up reversing this entire section because he ended up going over to stage left, and now he's doing it to stage right. I low-key love this because just as a teacher, I find beauty when choreography has a balance to it, not just in staging, but also in the movement itself, because you would be surprised of the amount of times choreography is going to cater to a certain side, like right or left. A lot of times, depending on the choreographer's dominant hand, a lot of times is kind of how that works. And so whenever there's certain overlaps of movement qualities, people really train and become proficient in certain techniques on a particular side. But seeing these types of setups here, it's a perfect drill format to get certain choices and certain techniques that they're doing in here. They're able to work on it through the usage of choreography on both sides. So they're going to be more ambidextrously competent in their movement, which I really like. That's such a teacher moment I just had though. Like I really love that moment about this, but also if you look at it from a staging standpoint, it feels balanced because we're not just accenting over and giving love to stage left. We're giving some love to stage right in the visual of an accent like that. Super cool. Oh, yeah, and I love this bleed in here. So we always have to be mindful whenever you curve it in. You have to have some form, like I've said, of wrist flexibility to fully commit through the tail end of a move like that without sacrificing this angle. here, right? In order to really fight for the geometric equivalence, regardless if you're here or here, that can change your flexibility, even from your position here to here, right? Because you have to think about where your wrist is rotating. So very well done on that. I don't know who, well, maybe, let me go see you choreograph this. Hold on. Okay, I saw Aiden Carberry was a contributor, and he was with Poreotics. And Poreotics is, if you want to see like Poreotics ABDC, go watch J Park do literally anything from 2 p.m. and Low-Key with Taxi Blur. I'm not kidding you right now, because I bring them up when I watch 2 p.m. Oh my god, that's amazing. Okay, we digress. I can see a lot of influence, but hey, I love the layers on this. Ooh, you know what? I have a feeling that Poreotics, now let me go look. I was looking to see if they, when they competed with ABDC, if they were a group of 5 or 6. So they do have like a couple switch outs and stuff. I digress. I'm just saying that I would say with my guy who contributed in some way, if he was a contributor to the levels and formations of this, I can kind of see it because his crew operates at a similar amount of people. I think it's a cool thing. And that's a really interesting note, because like if you use, for example, like Kirsten Dodgen, because she's really heavily relevant in the K-pop scene nowadays, just doing Spell by 17, for example, she is no stranger to operating in a mega crew and also working with people in a mega crew context because of her time on Royal Family, right? And there's a lot of experience you can glean from being a part of groups like that. And they're just a whole nother beast in terms of how they go about choreography. It's so fascinating. Go be curious about it. But my point is, people are going to be looking for people that have a niche in something, right? So for me, if I'm like, okay, I have a group of 5 and I really want somebody who, who dives pretty extensively in, tutting or robotics, and they're used to working with a small group, I'm going to naturally want to find somebody that kind of fits that bill more so than like a super, super huge name. Now, being a big name in something like Poreotics, it was pretty big in the early, like late 2000s, early 2010s specifically, was like a really, really big time for them. And they're still dope. I mean, I know Charles, so it's super cool. But, I mean, my whole point to this is that I really like the fact that they have somebody like him on this, because I can now see a lot of the fingerprints of what I'm used to seeing on Poreotics, but I see it like it's very fitting here. And I think part of it comes from the number of the guys that are on here is similar in nature to Poreotics, in which my guy can potentially operate from, right? Which I think is super, super cool. Anyway, but moving on from here. Yeah, I really like that. Go back in. Now, notice, oh my god, it's balanced on both sides. And it does make it feel subtly different because we're able to see the choreo with a different side. It also shows you their consistency and their thoroughness to practice stuff on both sides. And my teacher heart is swooning, and I'm just so happy with that. Super cool. It is the exact to the opposite side. All the fans over here are getting their same amount of love as my fans over here. This is the version of equality in a routine. We love it. Yeah. This right here, of course, he's sweaty. He sweat throughout this whole thing. Bless the boy. I love that. Boom, with the accent. We drop down. He sits in. That was so smooth. Part of what makes that smooth is 2 things. Firstly, the setup doesn't look, it doesn't look like my guys in front are distracting us from anything. Because sometimes you can see choreography and it comes across like, ooh, we are being distracted by something being set up in the back. You always want to try to avoid that, but sometimes it's unavoidable. That was very well done. Even this time, I didn't really catch it. Second thing is he never looked down or looked behind him. So it doesn't, he's going in blind as he sits down. So he is trusting that they are there, and he has to make sure he's sitting on them enough to be able to be lifted. They have to be in their spot and even enough. So when he does sit, it's going to be equal. So when he is lifted, he's not going to want to fall to one side. So there's a lot of troubleshooting that probably happened with that. So smooth. I love the stability of it. The walkthrough, they even got a textured walk coming out of this. We love a good bridge. This is cool. And he drops down. Boom, and he branches away, and they go and they connect. I love this. The pull matches the tone very well, and then they speed it up. Ooh, and then they drop into a speed change, so they go tension, quick, and slow again. So there's a lot of speed changes that are happening in their transitions, which I really, really like, and it showcases brilliantly whenever you have subtlety coming from your features. Really cool. And it also makes their basket run, because it's low-key what they were doing a smidge, but it's speed change. It's not just your standard, okay, I'm running to my spot. It's still texturized, it's still dynamic, so it is taking advantage of the opportunity for your transition. Really cool. We're walking. And there's your go. You did a nice little kind of pull through happening there. Good syncopation happening with the lower body and the footwork. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. A lot of quickness happening with the arms. Kind of feels like you can do some jutsu out of that. If you know, you know. Boom, right here. Feature, arm up. I can clock him. He's in the back. Well, guess what? He's not in the middle. And I was able to very clearly see who my next feature was because he has a hand up and no one else does, even though everybody's looking to the front. Really nice. And he takes it, vroom, love that. I think, is this something that he still does today? I think it's fun. It's just a fun little thing he does right here. The run, love that. And they didn't make it look awkward when they already got to their spot. This is a great example of fully committing even when you're already at your spot. They're still running in place, even though they're already there. Sometimes I see dancers, and we have to always work on this because they don't think about big picture. They think, okay, I'm in my spot, I don't have to keep doing the move. But big picture stuff you do, because then you're gonna stick out as somebody who's making the visual not fully feel complete because you're already there. But the whole point is the visual of the transition for other people to get to their spot too. So I really like the commitment to that. Whoever was in charge of the cleaning process of this, they did a really good job. And for them, they did a really good job being receptive to it, which I think is super cool. I love the crosses on that. Once again, like what we saw right there. So notice it's the same thing of what we saw in course 1, but it's a different formation, so it feels different, right? And they're really close to us too, so we're really able to appreciate the details. Yep. Same choreo, the exact same choreo, just different people in different spots. Super fun. I love it. And he hits it, boom, boom. I really love that part. Is really cool. Nice little natural moment. This was so cute. So it's like a human thread once again. And it's like, woo, we're going down on a water slide. Gosh, that's so fun. And they branch away and they turn out of it, which I really like. That was really subtle. I think some people had some head accents to... So he goes, he throws, his head pops up, he brings it back, his head pops up, he goes, ha, we're gonna punch, we're gonna do a little gun on that, my guy pops his head up. I love that, boom, boom, I really love that choice. Is it a lock? I wouldn't really go so far as to call it a double lock, but I like the energy of it, you could present it as such. I love that, boom, once again, tension, even though there's fullness in the body, tension in the arms, love it. Arm, drop it down, he's in our center, and his arm's up. And it goes suri suri, like abracadabra, I think is what that's called, right? The slide through. Then it goes with the twist of the feet, really nice, bringing our body and our hands. His hands go low to high. They're connected onto the shoulders to the same degree, which is nice, helps enhance your spacing. I went low from high to low. Ooh, we love to see it. That little yeah. I like that my feature didn't do it, but he did a nice little tapping of the finger, and everybody's head nodded along. Love that choice. Oh, we're here for that. Yeah, nice little explosion, and then we rotate that hand through. And then boom, boom, right here into a pistol squat. Now, pistol squats are really difficult to do just from like a fitness standpoint. It's something that I've always struggled to do because of just the amount of discipline and stability is required in usage of your core. For them, they kind of did it like they went for it and then they used their hands to catch themselves because they technically didn't do it like 100% correct, but I love the intention of it and it looks dope in the music video and here. Really great way to get down, and then they go, and it kind of feels like we're operating in reverse here, right? Yeah, I mean, not really, but we're kind of Oreo cooking it near the tail end, right? So we go and we rotate around. We have a nice little moment. We pull, and then we push through, and it goes, yeah, and then we're going to hit it down, and then they go slam, and then they all look up at a corner, at a diagonal. So I love the tail end of it where it's nice and it feels hopeful, and it doesn't feel like we just turn them off, right? I really enjoy this. My jaw hurts. I think it's because I was smiling throughout the entire thing and we're in it for an hour. So this was so fun. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. Thank you, Shelby. You knew what you were doing. They all do. Whenever I get requests like this, they know I'm going to really enjoy it, and we take a long time just enjoying it together. So I appreciate you guys, like I said, watching this with me. I know some of these can be really dense, and so it means a lot that a lot of you take the time to watch it through, listen through different aspects of the routines that I look through, and I just had a blast looking at them and debut baby days, like the rookie days, is really fun. And it does make it very tempting for me to want to look at their most recent work. So I may do that. You may see these both pop up at the same time and we all celebrate. So if you want to see more, I always early release on Patreon, and then it follows a schedule on YouTube. So this could be coming out as early as tomorrow, the day that I record this, or a week, or even a month from now. It just kind of depends. So, but once again, my name is Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.